Too many questions have been left unanswered. Have we proclaimed the wrong president? This presentation does not presume to answer all those questions. Its principal purpose, the reason for its existence, is to supply some of the pieces that are missing in a gigantic puzzle. The evidence presented here is supported by documents made available by reliable individuals who refused to remain silent. On December 30, 2002, some of us actually believed she was sincere.
I have decided not to run for president during the elections of 2004.
But a scant 10 months later, on October 1, 2003, GMA sang a different tune. For some, the announcement was expected, but the majority of the population was taken by surprise. In answer to the clamor of the people, a reluctant Fernando Poe Jr. announced his candidacy. The people rallied behind the king of Filipino movies. On February 10, 2004, the official campaign period began. On election day at 7 a.m., precincts all over the country opened their doors. They say that hundreds of thousands were disenfranchised. At 3 p.m., when the precincts closed, many never got to vote at all. After a contentious and painfully slow canvassing of votes, witnessed by both Senate and the House of Representatives, GMA and Noli de Castro were proclaimed. News of rampant cheating spread like wildfire. On July 23, 2004, candidate Fernando Poe Jr. filed his protest at the Presidential Electoral Tribunal. There was no action from the PET. FPJ waited patiently, still trusting in the rule of law. But the Almighty had other plans for FPJ.
President movement sa pagkontrol ng mga tao. Ito na po, sa aming kanan.
Susan Roses, FPJ's widow, filed a substitution case on behalf of Juan de la Cruz. On March 29, PET dismissed the petition. For many, it seemed like the end of the road. But on June 6, 2005,
Sir, can we just clarify?
Yes.
So you're saying that it was indeed the president's voice?
That's the president's voice, but the other party on the line is not that of a commissioner.
And they were indeed having a conversation about election results?
There's a conversation. This is a privileged conversation between the president and a political leader.
as a result of the Garci tapes and the subsequent attempts to cover up, plus Garci's mysterious disappearance. After weeks of silence, GMA appeared on national TV.
I was anxious to protect my votes, and during that time, had conversations with many people, including a COMELEC official. I recognize that making any such call was a lapse in judgment. I am sorry.
Mrs. Arroyo, habang pinagmamasdan kita sa iyong paghingi ng paumanhin sa amin, sa taong bayan, kitang-kita ko sa iyong mga mata. Hindi nang gagaling sa iyong puso ang iyong paghihingi ng sorry. May kasabihan tayong mga Pilipino. Ang sinungaling ay kapatid ng magnanakaw.
In the meantime, on July 25, 2005, an amended impeachment complaint was filed in the lower house. The majority in the House stonewalled the complaint. They had the numbers.
My goodness!
They killed the complaint. 158 voted yes, 51 voted no, and there were 6 abstentions. We have given you a timeline of the events that unfolded before, during, and after the 2004 elections. One does not have to be a detective or an expert to spot the anomalies in the last elections. Section 212 of the Omnibus Election Code is violated. COMELEC Resolution 6667, Section 15. Violated. COMELEC inflated the numbers from the normally projected 38.8 million to 43.5 million, an addition of about 5 million voters. Here's a look at projections of the number of registered voters in past elections. Instead of using the normal 47% of the total population as the expected number of registered voters, COMELEC used 54%. Voter addition facilitates and conceals vote padding. How did this work for GMA? In Pampanga, Cebu, Iloilo, and Bohol, or the PCIB area, there was an increase of 951,695 registered voters. People are asking, if GMA was leading the race, why did she have to call Garci, her appointed and not confirmed COMELEC commissioner, famous for dagdag bawas tactics? Because the unexpected happened. The fabricated votes from GMA's bailiwicks were not enough to cover the avalanche of votes for FPJ that came in from Luzon, including Metro Manila. Here is a table which illustrates the lead in the presidential race based on the tampered COCs. Notice the vote shaving in Luzon and vote padding in the Visayas. Luzon figures account for 57% of the total registered voters, while the Visayas accounts for 21%. But compare the totals. Luzon has 1.7 million and Visayas has 2.3. Never in the history of Philippine elections have the votes from the Visayas outnumbered the votes in Luzon. GMA received an artificial lead of 567,656 after the PCIB votes were canvassed. GMA lost heavily in the Lingayen-Lucena corridor, in spite of the rampant vote shaving in Regions 1 to 5 and NCR. In order to win, she needed more than just the additional 951,695 voters in the PCIB area. GMA needed Mindanao, which undoubtedly was FPJ territory, and this is why GMA made at least 15 calls to Garci. On May 29, 19 days after the elections, we have this conversation between GMA and Garci.
Hello?
Hello, ma'am. Good morning. Okay, ma'am. Mas mataas po siya, pero mag-compensate po sa Lanao yun.
So, will I still lead by more than 1M?
More or less, it's that advantage, ma'am. Parang ganon din ang lalabas.
It will not be less than 1M?
Pipilitin mo natin niya, pero as of the other day, it's 982.
Kaya nga eh.
And then, if we can get more in Lanao.
Hindi pa matapos?
Hindi pa ho. Mayroon pang darating na 7 municipalities.
Okay.
On June 2, 23 days after elections, there is another call.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello. Doon sa Lanao del Sur at sa Basilan, hindi lang nag-match yung SOB sa COC.
Kung ano yan, kung sinasabi nila wala na naman ho.
Hindi nag-match.
Hindi nag-match. Ay, may posibilidad na hindi mag-match kung hindi nila sinunod yung individual SOB ng mga munisipyo. Pero ayaw ko lang ho kung sa atin pabor o hindi. Kasi doon naman sa Basilan, sa Lanao Sur, itong ginawa nila na yung pagpataas sa inyo, hindi naman ho, maayos naman ang paggawa eh.
So nagmamatch?
On May 31, 21 days after the elections, GMA called Garci. Listen well to Garci, saying that NAMFREL was now sympathetic to us. Isn't NAMFREL a neutral body? And watch for GMA's anxious, Yung dagdag, yung dagdag.
Ano, ma'am?
Hello, at saka yung kabila, they're trying to get their number a copy of the municipal COCs.
Lampril copy shop? Ay, wala naman. Okay naman ang lampril sa atin. We are now sympathy to us.
Oo, pero we just have to make sure that number doesn't Pero yun nga, yung they're trying to get that.
We will get in advance. Kakapin mo natin kung ano ang kanila.
Okay.
Sige po.